When I moved in and made this sort of leap of faith in 2000 and bought this place, and with this overwhelming amount of volume and this huge building for me at the time, I was confronted with the challenge of actually, what am I going to do with this space? And it was kind of a challenge because it really means exposing your personality, because it's almost an autobiographical kind of spatial story. And there were tweaks. I froze the first winter because I got rid of all the radiators because I didn't like the way they look. And then after turning blue, I decided to put all the radiators back. So there were kind of weird functional kind of compromises that I had to strike to be able to live. I enjoy sort of the live-work aspect of it because it's kind of a reflection of the way I live anyway. Cheers. Cheers. Because there isn't that much separation between the way I live and the way I work. I mean, I sort of, the way I see life is really through my design career, you know, the people I meet, the friends I make. So I see this loft as kind of a lab of sorts. It's things that I would do to myself that I would be hesitant to do to a client. Particular house, which was an old dental factory built in the 1880s. I wanted to keep the original shell as raw as possible. I was educated over in Europe and had a chance to see a lot of castles and medieval sort of buildings in Italy and in Germany. And it was kind of inspired by the rawness of and the rustication of the stonework and the brickwork. So I retained the sort of masonry openings, punched a hole, actually got rid of the windows, and just sort of clamped glass on the outside face, so you actually saw the actual guts of the construction. Another example of the contrast between old and new and the layering of history is in the ceiling area, where, you know, we've got this sort of pure sheetrock ceiling that's kind of cut on the 45, that's very sharp and precise. And then there are these sort of 19th century heavy beams that are exposed, and they're kind of gnarly, and they've got all these metal fasteners. And I enjoy that contrast, and I like the layering of history. I'm interested in juxtaposing polar differences in anything, really. Say it's the materiality, you know, the rough versus the smooth, the cold versus the warm, curved versus straight. I'm interested in sort of the contrast and the tension that's created between these opposites. I get a kick out of materials that age and acquire a patina. The first cut is always the deepest, and so I kind of freak out when, you know, there's the first crack in the wall or the first kind of patch of paint is peeling, and then it starts to acquire a life of its own, and it's this kind of challenge to accept change and accident. I really love this space, and I can't foresee myself moving out of it. I could evolve the space as my needs change, and I think a space should be able to do that. But I think this is pretty much home. I want to keep producing my work and say things that have never been said before in a timeless way.